leading on from my last video, we're going to have a look at multiplying fractions. Now, the reason I said leading on is because as part of this question, you often get asked as a last step to simplify the fraction as low as you can make it. If you're not comfortable with doing that skill, I suggest you go back and watch that video. If you are, just watch from here on in. Okay, so multiplying fractions is quite an easy skill to do. What we're going to do is split it up into 3 steps. So we've got step 1, step 2, and step 3. Step 1, multiply the top numbers. These are called the numerators. So the maths word for them are the numerators. We're just going to think of them as the top numbers. Step 2, multiply the bottom numbers. These are called the denominators. And then the last step, which relates to my last video, simplify the fraction if needed or if possible. Okay, it says if needed because some fractions won't simplify, some will. So it's all dependent upon the question whether you can simplify it or not. We're going to go into 2 examples straight away because it's not that complicated to do. Question 1 is going to be 2/3 times by 2/5, and all we're going to do is follow the steps. So the step 1 is going to be multiply the top numbers. So either underneath or alongside, I'm going to write 2 times by 2. I'm multiplying the 2 top numbers together. So 2 times by 2 over, now step 2, and multiply the bottom numbers together. So 3 times by 5. So I'm left with 2 times by 2 divided by 3 times 5. I'm going to tidy that up. 2 times by 2 is 4. 3 times by 5 is 15. Step 3 says simplify the fraction if needed. I can't simplify 4 over 15 because there's not a number which goes perfectly into 4 and into 15. So 4 over 15 is the only thing I can leave it as. So in this case, that would be my correct answer. Question 2, this time is going to give us a question which is going to simplify. So this time we are going to include step 3. Step 1, multiply the top numbers. So again, I write out underneath or alongside. 1 times by 2. And underneath, step 2, multiply the bottom numbers, the denominators, 2 times by 5. So I'm left with 1 times by 2 over 2 times by 5. 1 times by 2 is 2. 2 times by 5 is 10. So this is going to equal 2 over 10. Now step 3, my last step to tidy it up, simplify if needed. This time I can simplify the fraction, and the reason I can simplify this fraction is because I can think of a number which goes into both the top number of the fraction and the bottom number. So a number which goes into 2 and 10 perfectly. So that number is going to be 2. 2 goes into 2 and 2 goes into 10. 2 goes into 2 how many times? Well, it goes in once. 2 goes into 10, how many times does that go in? It goes in 5 times. So I can actually rewrite this fraction in its most simplified or lowest form, whatever they ask for, as 1/5. 2 over 10 and 1 over 5 are the same things, but the additional mark often will be in its lowest form. The lowest form would be 1/5, okay, where the denominator is the smallest number that you can make it. I can't simplify it any further because there's not a number which goes into 1 and 5 apart from 1, in which case it would just leave you with 1 over 5 anyway. So summarising, all you need to remember when you're multiplying is you multiply the top numbers, you multiply the bottom numbers. When you've done that and you've tidied up the answer, ask yourself, can I simplify it? If the answer is yes, then I simplify it. If it's no, I just move on to the next question. So a little summary to remember what to do. You multiply the tops, then you multiply the bottoms. That is the most important thing to remember. Apart from that, it's not really that complicated to do.